The Council on Foreign Relations was established in 1921. Since that time, notice a few interesting things about that organization. What are its purposes? And also, why has most people never heard of the Council on Foreign Relations? And as far as I'm aware, the name has only appeared twice on television, ever, that I'm aware of. Mr. Arthur Schlesinger Jr., who is a historian, has called the Council on Foreign Relations a front organization for the heart of the American establishment in his book, 1,000 Days, page 128. Mr. David Halberstam, in his book called The Best and the Brightest, on page 6, called the Council on Foreign Relations the establishment's unofficial club. Newsweek magazine, September 6, 1971, page 74, referred to the Council on Foreign Relations leaders as the foreign policy establishment of the United States. Esquire magazine, an article, The American Establishment, May of 1962. It was by a Mr. Richard Rivera. Quote, he viewed the Council on Foreign Relations as a sort of presidium for that part of the establishment that guides our destiny as a nation. End of quote. If the CFR guides our destiny as a nation, what destiny does it promote? What future does it have for you and me? I think that is a legitimate question. 5 times a year, the Council on Foreign Relations publishes a journal called Foreign Affairs. Those involved in foreign affairs read this publication religiously. It's from the pages of this particular magazine that our future foreign policy is made. Time magazine called Foreign Affairs the most influential periodical in print in the world. The Council on Foreign Relations even has a corporate program by which they indoctrinate businessmen all over the United States and the world in international relations and interdependence with economics with other nations. They have 38 cities in which they have what are called committees on foreign relations. That's in the United States. The Council on Foreign Relations has exercised a very decisive impact upon the United States policy, especially foreign policy, since the days of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It has achieved this primarily in 2 ways. The first is by directly supplying personnel for upper echelon government jobs. That way they make the policy decisions. Few Americans know how a president actually chooses his administrative officials. The majority probably trust that our officials that are elected will find the best people qualified for the job and to create security for our government. However, Pulitzer Prize winner Theodore White said that the Council on Foreign Relations, and I quote, roster of members has for a generation under Republican and Democratic administrations alike been the chief recruiting ground for the cabinet level officials in Washington. End of quote. And that was his book, The Making of a President, 1964, page 67. So here is an organization that now goes into the government of the United States unelected, and yet they make all policy decisions in the guidance of our nation. No wonder that no matter which party, Democrat or Republican, the president goes into office and nothing ever changes. We only become more socialized than ever before because it's not the president necessarily, but it's those advisors that guide him, that leads us into the new world government which they're looking for. The Christian Science Monitor once observed that, I quote, there is a constant flow of the Council on Foreign Relations members from private life to public service. Almost half of the council members have been invited to assume official government positions or to act as consultants at one time or another. End of quote. Their September 1st, 1961 issue. Mr. Joseph Kraft, in writing in Harper's Magazine in 1958, page 64, called the Council on Foreign Relations a school for statesmen. Mr. David Halberstam puts it this way, quote, "They walk in one door as businessmen and come out the other door as statesman figures." End of quote. That was in the New York Magazine, September 20th, 1971, page 48. I think history speaks for itself. Through early 1988, 14 Secretaries of State, 14 Treasury Secretaries, 11 Defense Secretaries, and hundreds of other federal department heads have been members of the Council on Foreign Relations. Every Secretary of State since 1949 has been a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. No wonder our foreign policy aids and abets the movement of international socialism for the overthrow of governments. Council on Foreign Relations men who earn high government ranks often staff their own departments with other Council on Foreign Relations members. A man by the name of Anthony Lucas wrote an article in the New York Times in 1971. Here's what he said, quote, "Everyone knows how fraternity brothers can help other brothers climb the ladder of life. If you want to make foreign policy, there's no better fraternity to belong to than the Council on Foreign Relations." When Henry Stimson went to Washington in 1940 as Secretary of War, he took with him John McCloy, who was to become Assistant Secretary in charge of personnel. McCloy has recalled, "Whenever we needed a man, we thumbed through the roll of the council members and put through a call to New York. And over the years, the men McCloy called in turn called other council members." End of quote. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, as of June of 1987, 318 of its members were current government officials in the Reagan administration, which was the most conservative outwardly in their pre-election rhetoric that has been in many, many years. Now, the second way in which the Council on Foreign Relations affects our policy is by actually formulating recommendations and then having them implemented by our government. Mr. J. Robert Moskin, writing in the March 1987 issue of Town and Country, said that the CFR, quote, "has long sought to influence United States foreign policy," page 154. Mr. Joseph Kraft, in his article of July 1958, Harper's Magazine, noted that the Council on Foreign Relations, I quote, "has been the seat of some basic government decisions, has set the context for many years." End of quote. They have changed our foreign policy to fit what they want, and that would take us far into the future before it could ever be reversed, or if it ever would be reversed. If you want to know the policies of the future for the American government, read the Foreign Affairs published by the Council on Foreign Relations today. Then you'll know what's in store for us in the future. A former judge advocate general of the United States Navy, his name was Admiral Chester Ward. He was invited to join the ranks of the Council on Foreign Relations and was absolutely shocked by what he discovered. He became one of the Council on Foreign Relations' sharpest critics, even though he remained within the organization for over 20 years. He co-authored a book with Phyllis Schlafly in 1975. The book was entitled Kissinger on the Couch. On page 151, Mr. Ward wrote, I quote, "Once the ruling members of the Council on Foreign Relations have decided that the United States government should adopt a particular policy, the very substantial research facilities of the CFR are put to work to develop arguments, intellectual and emotional, to support their new policy." And notice what else he said. "And to confound and discredit any opposition." End of quote. So the Council on Foreign Relations discredits in any means that it has at its disposal anyone who stands up against their policy. Did you know why Joseph McCarthy was censored in the Senate of the United States? Not because he fought communism, but because he stood up against the Eastern establishment indirectly. And they're the ones that had him censored and discredited him to make the word McCarthy sound like a no-no, a nasty word, when he was correct in everything he said and did. But what about the Council on Foreign Relations and its globalist policy? Do they have a global policy? Can you prove it? If you can, how can you prove it? The Council on Foreign Relations actually advocates the creation of a one-world government. Now, the ultimate implication of this is that all power would be centralized into a single global authority. National identities and boundaries would be eliminated. In 1897, those exact plans were laid down in writing. They were discovered in Russia. They were termed the Protocols. President George Bush stated in his speech of September 11th, 1990, practically the same thing, that we're looking for a new world order. We're looking for a world united in which no Saddam Hussein could ever rise again. You will only know the Illuminati's program by the actions they take. They cover their trail well. The Council on Foreign Relations also suggests measures that would serve as stepping stones to world government. You can easily prove this by just thumbing through the pages of Foreign Affairs, their publication. They always have articles which pushes the concept of globalism. We're a one world, global unit, not broken down into 50 or 60 or 159 separate nations. But you will find it very difficult to ever find just one article opposing globalism. According to Admiral Ward, the Council on Foreign Relations has as its ultimate goal, I quote, submergence of the United States sovereignty and national independence into an all-powerful one-world government. And this lust to surrender the sovereignty and independence of the United States is pervasive throughout most of its membership. In the entire CFR lexicon, that's their terminology, their language, there is no term of revulsion that repulses them carrying a meaning so deep as America first. End of quote. He says the Council on Foreign Relations hates the term America should be first. We're the greatest nation on earth. We should stay first. The Council on Foreign Relations hates that terminology. Because you see, all the way back to Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati, they said there must be equality, brotherhood, and fraternity of all people. They want to take controls of a world government and reduce all people in America to that of the third and fourth world countries so all people will be equal. That's their plan. They will perform it when their new world order is intact. That's why Mr. George Bush and former President Reagan both said we will never increase taxes. They both increased taxes at the greatest increase in history.